Alright, in this example I'm going to look at solving an equation with two square roots. Now, it's important here that on any problems like this that you trust what you know. A lot of students will try and square both sides and just cancel both square roots as if the problem is simple. Make sure that you stick to the rules that you know and just follow them through, even if it is a little bit dark and scary. Just follow them to the end. So for instance, in this example I have the square root of 3x minus 8 plus 1 equals the square root of x plus 5. So I have a radical by itself, so I'm going to go ahead and square both sides of the equation. Now, if I square the right hand side, the square and the square root will cancel. I'll be left with x plus 5. And that's going to be equal to, well, I got to take this whole binomial and square it. So I really have to take the radical 3x minus 8 plus 1 and then times that by the radical 3x minus 8 plus 1. Well, to multiply two binomials, I use FOIL. So I multiply the first times the first. Well, that just gives me 3x minus 8. I then double the product of the two, so I'm going to get 2 radical 3x minus 8, and then when I take 1 times 1, I'll get positive 1, and that's going to be equal to x plus 5. And now you'll notice I still have a radical in my problem. So just as before, anytime I have a radical in my equation, my step needs to be to get the radical by itself. So I need to remove this other stuff to get the radical alone. So I'm going to subtract 1, and I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And then I'm also going to subtract the 3x from both sides as well. So that leaves me with 2 radical 3x minus 8 equals, well, x minus the 3x is a negative 2x. And then if I take 5 plus 8, that's 13, but minus 1 gives me a positive 12. And then notice I still need to divide this 2 off. So I can divide 2 on both sides. I'll get the square root of 3x minus 8 equals negative x plus 6. And now I have the radical by itself, so once again I can square both sides. I'll get 3x minus 8 equals, well, negative x plus 6 squared is really negative x plus 6 times a negative x plus 6. And once again, to multiply these we have to FOIL, so we take the first term times the first term, which will be an x squared. We then take positive 6 times negative x, which is a negative 6x. But then we do the same thing with the outer, and we get another negative 6x. So our next term is actually negative 12x. And then we take 6 times 6, which is a positive 36. Now I got rid of the square roots, so I need to get the variables all on one side. So I'm actually going to minus 3x and add 8 to both sides. Minus 3x, add 8. So I get 0 equals x squared minus 15x plus 44. And then once again you have two options here. You can either try and factor the problem to solve it, or you can work on using the quadratic formula to find x. So to use a quadratic formula, you're going to put x equals, you take the opposite of b, which is 15, plus or minus the square root of your b squared, so you're going to take negative 15 and square it, minus 4 times your a, which in this case is a 1, times 44, and then that's going to be all over 2 times 1, and then you just use a calculator to simplify this down to your value.